Today is going to be a very sad and a hard day for me. And it's not because I'm on day 23 of this water fast, baby. Let's go. Not giving up yet. It's because I have a gentleman that's about to show up and purchase a lot of my welding and metal fabrication tools. He's about to get all the metal that I've accumulated over the years. This 20-inch disc sander that's an absolute workhorse beast legacy tool. I thought if I ever had kids, they would end up with it. That kind of quality. But a lot has transpired that I'm going to explain over this past year. Got all these totes, started packing stuff up, which I'm going to explain. And anyhow, I grew up watching shows like Monster Garage, Junkyard Wars, Orange County Choppers, West Coast Choppers, Extreme 4x4, Pimp My Ride, Stacy David's Trucks, Horsepower TV, Mythbusters, and all I ever wanted was a place to call my own, a shop to call my own, and a spot to place my tools and make creations. When I started this place, I thought to myself, what makes me the most happy? And instantly I thought creating things. So getting rid of a lot of this tooling today, welding mask, all these abrasives for the sander, MIG bottle, TIG bottle, torches, all this stuff is a real heartbreaker. So I'm going to be explaining a lot of the questions that people have been asking me in this. Last year at this time, I was standing right here in the best shape of my life. What I thought. Physically, I was in the best shape of my life, but what I didn't realize is that I was in the beginning stages of being very, very sick. Very sick. And I was dealing with so much. I was dealing with mold toxicity that I knew, but I didn't know that it was to the degree that it was in my system. I was dealing with trauma from realizing that I was sexually abused as a kid. I was at the same time trying to get justice for that, which ended up not working out, even though the guy admitted it on a recorded call with the cops and they said they couldn't do anything after putting me through hell. I was dealing with having to let someone go that I loved dearly with all my heart. A whole bunch of things at the same time. I was also abusing cannabis and lemon teching, escaping some of the pain that I was dealing with, but in the wrong way. And it all culminated into a massive mental health crisis on July 3rd. I put out the first two parts of this. I haven't put out the rest yet. I'm going to here soon. On July 3rd, I had this mental health crisis, and I'm not going to go too much into that. But what I will say about it is it ended up me losing not only the spot where I was living at, but more importantly, where I was parking my trailer at for the business, my boat, and all the storage yard for my business. That's how I ended up living there, was I was storing massive amounts of wood there. Well, I had to get it out of there. So I was looking for spot after spot to move the wood to, and spot after spot failed, wouldn't work out for some reason or another. So I thought, man, how am I gonna solve this problem? I have to get this out of here. I got lawyers on me. They're gonna auction off all this wood and I'm gonna have to pay for it if I don't make something happen. So I figured, you know what, maybe it's time for a change and maybe it's time to focus on my health. So I listed the business for sale. Right away, I started getting hits. I had a guy that was following me, said, I've been following you for years. I love your business. I saw that you started with sandblasting. Me and my dad grew up sandblasting redwood slabs on the East Coast, and I want to buy it. Comes down, we make a deal, start planning on strategizing, getting the trucks ready to go because he was going to move this to another county. And he ends up leaving here, goes to celebrate, and gets a DUI, goes to jail, and a whole bunch of other drama that happened legally to where he had to back out of the deal. And at that time, that's why you might have been wondering, why did I sell my boat? Well, that was the reason I sold the boat, was because I thought that he was about to buy this and I didn't want to be stuck with a boat here because I want to move and have a property somewhere. And I don't know that it's not looking like that's going to happen here. I've always had a dream of having a big shop, probably a big like 120 foot by 100 foot slab with storage shipping containers, probably 240 footers end to end, and then side by side with the roof over it, have like a nice 40 by 80 shop. So it crushes me to get rid of all these tools because I know that I eventually am going to have a shop like that. But right now I'm in this limbo stage where I don't have the place, but I also am looking to move out of here. This business has been great to me, but like I've said, I am very sick, and if I don't work on healing myself and putting my full energy into that, I'm going to end up dead. And I don't want to leave this big mess for my family to clean up, all my tools, and have to get rid of all this stuff. Anyhow, that guy falls through. I had a couple other people come here, get trained. They want to get the business, everything, and different reasons I'm not going to go into, but life circumstance stuff for them, nothing to do with this, but life circumstances that they had to drop out of it. Well, then I get a family approach me that was super cool, and instantly I felt like it was destiny. I wanted them to have it, and they felt the same way. So for months, I started packing up stuff. You've seen all the totes. I got all kinds of boxes here. I've been started packing up stuff because they were dead set on getting this place. And we go through months of hiccups and all kinds of stuff for them taking over. And I'm not going to get into their business, but it ended up not completely working out. They did buy the storage yard with all the wood over there, which is awesome. They got a massive collection of some killer material, which I'm going to introduce you to them in due time. It's just not really the right time for me to do it yet, but I am going to introduce you to them because I do wish them the best of success. Who knows, maybe they'll end up still with this place, but right now they're not. That's why you may have seen that I listed the business again, and in that time I thought they were getting it, so I started getting rid of all kinds of stuff: the sandblaster, the mill drill, my plotter, e-bikes, my blue resin table that I never would have gotten rid of. I want that in my own house, but I did because it's too much to store and I don't have the property to take it to. Like I've been saying, I always had the dream of buying this place and then moving the business to a different location, but my landlord ended up demoing the house and rebuilding it and moving in herself, which we never thought was going to happen. There was always talks of me owner financing it, but it didn't work out. So all this kind of came to a big culmination at the same time, and it just made me realize that I really need to work on myself and focus all my energy on healing myself and fixing myself, because I am very sick and I'm struggling a lot with a lot of different things that I never thought would happen in my life, and it's been extremely difficult. There's a lot of days when I just don't want to continue because I just want peace in my mind again. Um, but yeah, that's why I've been getting rid of a lot of stuff, and that's why today this is going, and that's what's up over here. I've loved this business. Whoever gets it is going to be extremely lucky. I've busted my ass to have this reputation and such a cool spot with all kinds of killer material. All these trailers, everyone always says, I always see your trailers everywhere. That's the point. But yeah, whoever gets it's going to be real lucky. I got a bunch of people circling around right now. We'll see what happens. But it's crazy. I never thought I'd be getting rid of any of this stuff. The business, all this, the trailers, my truck, my boat. I always thought that I'd be an old man running this machine, milling logs, tacking stuff up, stacking them up. But I guess God has different plans for me. I've always been a blue collar guy my whole life, dirty hands, clean money type of guy. But with what's happening with my body and my health, it looks like maybe I'm gonna go into some white collar stuff for a while, try that out eventually once I get my health back. Like I said, last year at this time I was standing right here looking the best I ever have and feeling the best I ever have to a degree. I was 90% of the pie, but there was 10% that was absolutely falling apart inside, and it was too late by the time I realized. And now I'm dealing with the repercussions every day. There's been a lot. I paid for this a lot, big time. You wouldn't even believe. Getting rid of the stuff, people are like, oh, it's replaceable. Yeah, it is. The boat is the biggest heartbreaker because how I got it was an epic story. Epic story how I got that boat. But all that can be replaced, but what can't is my health, my brain. And if I don't get that right, I'm not going to be here. So that's the state of the union. Story that hits home with this welder is I had just purchased this welder, and at the time I was doing a little trial interview period at a high-end furniture fabrication manufacturing place. And before I started, I told him, hey, in 10 days I'm gonna fly to Arizona to go to my brother's wedding. Anyhow, doing the trial period, we end up having a meeting before the day I need to leave, and they're like, you know, we're super busy, like we don't have time for questions or any of this and that. Just go to Arizona, and when you come back, see if you like it, and if you do, you got the job. And I was like, well, I do have some questions about it. And they're like, don't you get it? Like, we don't have time. They were super rude. We're like, we don't have time to answer any questions and this and that and all this stuff. I was like, man, is this someone that I want to work for? So they're like, just leave and come back. I get up, I walk like 5 steps out of the building. I was like, you know what, F this. I turn around, I say, hey, you got a second? And they say, what? We don't have time, we told you. I said, yeah, well, I'll be back in an hour. Cut me my check. Like, I ain't doing this shit. Like, I'm not gonna work for someone that doesn't even have 30 seconds to answer some questions if you want me to have my future here. So that day I left and I welded up my first frame, made my first table start to finish all by myself on my router table, doing the frame. Usually my homeboy Scott does the welding. That was the first one. It wasn't the prettiest, but I grinded the weld out, took her to powder, and she sold quick. And that was a big boost to my morale, and a big confidence booster to end up getting this place. So getting rid of these tools is much more than just tools. It's the stories that go with them and all the miles we had together, baby. Like anything in life, whether it's tools, cars, anything like that, you know how it goes. There's always these little sentimental attachments and whatnot. That's why it makes it hard to get rid of these. Yeah, I can get new ones, but you don't get the story to come back with it either. It's like the boat. The way I got that boat, I go outside, my neighbor's washing. I say, oh, you're taking your boat out? He says, no, I'm about to sell it. I say, what? No way, how much? He says, XYZ. I say, dang, if I make a sale here soon, I'm gonna buy that if you still have it. He says, well, I told a guy about you. He wants to come up from Oakland today. He's supposed to call you. I was like, what? No way. I send pictures to my dad of the boat. We always wanted a boat like that. And go inside. Guy calls me. He says, hey, I want to come up. It's raining. It's a Sunday too. And nobody ever wants to come up on a Sunday in the rain with a trailer. He says, you have this? I say, yeah. He says, oh man, perfect. I'll be up in an hour and a half if that works. I say, come on up. I go back outside. I tell my neighbor, I say, hey, if this guy shows up with the truck, the trailer, and the money, I got the boat. It's enough for the boat. Anyhow, the guy shows up. He pulls in the driveway with the trailer. We're both like, yes. I was like, if he's got the money, we're on, baby. And he ends up wanting all the walnut slabs that I had, and he didn't have the money. And we're like, man, it's a Sunday. How are you going to get out this kind of bread out of the ATM? He's like, oh, let me go try. So you better drop off that trailer and come back for it, because you're not going to be able to fit in these places with that trailer. Drops the trailer. Like a couple hours pass by. He finally shows back up. He has the onion in his hand, gives it to me. We load up the walnut. I give the money to my buddy, put a little extra in my pocket, and that's how I got that boat. Like, you've heard a lot of people get in boats, but you've never heard of anyone flipping a bowl of walnut to get a boat. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. So that's one of the reasons why that boat was so hard to let go. Besides all the fun times and the cheeks that were cracked on that thing. A lot of priceless memories, but I guess could start over fresh on that. It could be kind of fun. All the memories traded for a little bit of paper. It ain't worth it. There she goes. He got himself a nice smorgasbord. That's all she wrote, folks. End of an era. And just like that, I broke my own heart again. Sometimes you gotta lose to win. I'm just waiting for my winning streak to kick in. It is what it is, baby. It is what it is. Back 'em up!